Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My goodness, what a banner day. I hope you guys don't mind, but I have turned off the do not disturb. I want to be able to answer my phone in case I get a call from a couple of different people. So, yeah, my apologies from the very beginning. If I get a call or a text, I might have to take it. Guys, today is a very, very important day. We are talking about the case of Ellen Greenberg. Ellen was a 27-year-old Philadelphia area school teacher who on January 26th of 2011, we just had the 14th anniversary of her death. In my opinion, she was viciously murdered. She was stabbed to death. She was strangled. And prior to that, in the weeks prior to that, for some reason, her body was bruised. Her body had many, many bruises all over it. By my count, there were 59 bruises on her body in the state that she was found in. So, in my opinion, this is somebody who was terribly abused and then murdered. And inexplicably, after the medical examiner found a guy named Dr. Marlon Osborne found that indeed she was a victim of a homicide. A few months later, he switched directions and said, no, I believe that this is a case of her doing it to herself. And apparently, what is alleged in a lawsuit filed by Josh and Sandy Greenberg as administrators of the estate of their daughter through their attorneys Joseph Pedraza and Will Trask. They filed a lawsuit against both Dr. Osborne, his then boss, Dr. Gulino, who was the chief medical examiner at the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office, as well as others, alleging that they conspired to conceal the murder of their daughter. Now, this is an important case, guys. No, I mean, obviously, I care about this case because it's Ellen Greenberg. This is something that I've been covering for a long, long time. But what's really important about this case is that in the history of at least the Commonwealth and probably the nation, no set of parents have gotten this far in their legal battle to seek justice for their daughter who was so obviously murdered. I think I have, these were the knife wounds that she suffered, not including a giant gash to the top of her head. Okay. Plus she had hemorrhaging on the inside of her neck. She had bruises on her neck. Okay. In this kind of case, nobody has ever gotten this far before. Josh and Sandy Greenberg are the first to my knowledge. So this is very, very important. Now, what is the breaking news that happened today? I want to show it to you over here on the docket report, and we're going to get into this, but join me over here on the website. This is Philadelphia Court's docket system. It is really, really infuriating to work in. But anyway, today at 11:47 a.m. and then following at 11:55 a.m., two orders were entered by Judge Michael Erdos responding to motions for summary judgment. So there are multiple defendants here. In fact, I think I have it. Give me a second. The original list of defendants. Yeah, I've got it right here. The initial list of defendants are Dr. Gulino, Dr. Osborne, Dr. Emery. The case against her was dismissed with prejudice, so Dr. Emery is out of the case. Tim Cooney, who is a sergeant at the Philadelphia Police Department. John McNamee, who is a detective at the police department. And Ann Pontario Esquire, who was at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. The case against her was also dismissed. So the surviving defendants on this are Gulino, Osborne, Cooney, and McNamee. Okay, getting back over here to the orders. These are the text of the orders, and I've got them in a better format for you guys. Give me just a second. Let's look at it in this format. Okay, here's the first order. And this is not an official document. I just took it from this and formatted it so that we could read it easily. Okay. From Judge Erdos. And now this 31st day of January 2025, upon consideration of the motion for summary judgment of defendants Sam P. Gulino, John McNamee, and Timothy Cooney, and any response thereto, it is hereby ordered that the motion is granted in part and denied in part as follows. Summary judgment as to Cooney is granted. Plaintiff's case against him is dismissed with prejudice. So this means that Judge Erdos, it is his legal opinion. Remember, his job is to ensure the fidelity of the law, right? So he agreed with the defendant in their motion for summary judgment that that Mr. Cooney should have the case against him dismissed. However, summary judgment as to Gulino and McNamee is denied. Because Gulino is entitled to high public official immunity, plaintiffs may only seek to recover damages from him for conduct outside the scope of his official duties. So McNamee, Cooney, it's dismissed. So that leaves McNamee, Gulino, Osborne. Okay? Gulino enjoys high public official immunity, but, says Judge Erdos, the plaintiffs can continue their fight against him, their legal fight, for anything that he may have done for which he may be civilly liable outside of the scope of his official duties. Now, we're going to get into this a little bit because I think it's really easy to be down on this judgment, but on this order, but I'm excited about it. Okay, scrolling down, this is the second one. Again, not an official document. I just took the content of the order from the docket and put it into a format that we can read, okay? All right, and now this 31st day of January 2025, upon consideration of the motion for summary judgment of defendant Marlon Osborne, and any response thereto is hereby ordered that the motion is denied. So the motion was for summary judgment, asking that the case be dismissed against Dr. Osborne. That is denied. It is not dismissed. But he does say, because Osborne is entitled to high public official immunity, plaintiffs may seek to recover damages from him for conduct outside the scope of his official duties. Now, that begs the question, what does that mean? First of all, the high public official immunity thing, let's get into that a little bit. And I would love to have an attorney with us, but I have prepared some notes over here. I'm not going to show you my notes. I'm just going to kind of refer to them every once in a while. Let's bring up a picture of Ellen. Okay, so high public official immunity protects certain officials from civil liability for actions within the scope of their official duties. I don't think that Detective McNamee has high public official immunity. I don't think he would ever have that. He would have what is called qualified immunity, but that has never been brought up in this. So he is now, the entire case against him stands. Okay, so high public official immunity is absolute immunity, meaning that if the conduct is deemed to fall within that official's professional role, they cannot be sued. So I take that to understand that if, say, Dr. Osborne is working 8 to 5 every day, he is not protected. He does not have like what is that? Absolute immunity from 8 to 5. He has absolute immunity for everything that he does that falls within the scope of his professional role. Now I have not talked to Joe Pedraza or Will Trask about this. I don't have their opinion on this. This is just me talking as a layperson that does not know the law. Okay, so take it for a grain of salt. But the main thing that is, one of the major things that is alleged in the lawsuit against all of the defendants is that there was a clandestine meeting. Wrong button, this button, that there was a clandestine meeting that was called, that was attended by Sergeant Cooney, Detective McNamee, Attorney Ponterio, Dr. Gulino, and Dr. Osborne. Those are the people that we know attended the meeting. In that meeting that Mr. Pedraza and Mr. Trask call a clandestine meeting, apparently Dr. Osborne was convinced that Ellen was not a victim of murder, but was a victim of herself. And he agreed to change the manner of death. Now, we know this because in a deposition, he stated as much. The Greenbergs nor their attorneys even knew about this deposition until Dr. Osborne was deposed in a previous lawsuit, one that is coming up to the Supreme Court real soon, hopefully this year. Okay, he was deposed and he described this meeting and how he was convinced, one, that nobody else was in the apartment, and two, that Mr. Goldberg, who was Ellen's fiance, was in the company of another person who witnessed him breaking down the door. So he stated that in his deposition, and that kind of opened the floodgates for this action. Okay? All right. So I think what the argument is going to be is that clandestine meeting did not fall in the official role, like his official professional role as deputy or assistant medical examiner, whatever he was. Okay. So in the order go my notes. The ruling, it suggests that while the medical examiner is immune for actions taken, with his official duties, there may be conduct that is carved out of there, right? That so official duties, immunity applies, cannot be sued. Conduct outside official duties, immunity does not apply, can be sued, right? So from what I understand, the Greenberg's team has to argue and prove that Dr. Gulino and Dr. Osborne's actions were beyond the scope of their statutory authority as medical examiners. I think that, then once they've established that, then they have to show, it was either done with malice or corruption, or, I think this is obviously a civil case, so there might be a lower burden there. But they've got to prove that whatever these actions were, they were not an integral or official part of their role as medical examiners. So an example of that might be deceptive conduct outside of the normal process. So if there are processes and procedures that are established within the office and they do something that is deceptive outside of those processes, then maybe, I think, they probably are not immune to that. And not only is there the one one thing, right? The clandestine meeting, but I mean, what was the other thing that I was thinking of? Oh, the obvious lie that Dr. Osborne was caught in, that he sent a sample, or he did a curbside consultation with a consulting neuropathologist who said that, this wasn't done prior to death. And then, like, when pressed on that, they couldn't find any proof that curbside ever happened. Okay, so I think maybe the legal strategy here is that Josh and Sandy's team would argue that Dr. Osborne and Dr. Gulino were influenced by that outside pressure from the police and from the district attorney's office, that they acted negligently, that they knowingly falsified the report. And guys, one of the main examples of maybe negligence on here has to do with the bruising. In Dr. Osborne's report, it said that she had 11 bruises in various states of resolution, various states of healing. There were not 11. Remember that Josh and Sandy let me have access to the autopsy photos. I counted 59. I counted and recounted. I counted 59. So more than 5 times what Dr. Osborne said were on Ellen's body were actually on Ellen's body. I think that shows some sort of negligence. Let's see if there's evidence of deliberative wrongdoing, but not tied to standard medical examiner responsibilities. That's going to be tough. The court could allow that evidence. So, and then when I shared this news over in the fish tank, you guys know what the fish tank is? You guys know what the fish tank is. It's over on Facebook. Head on over to the fish tank. It's awesome. It's where all of us kind of hang out, talk about the cases that we love. But over on the fish tank, when I posted it, there were questions like, what does this mean? Well, I think that Judge Erdos just left the door open for Josh and Sandy's legal team to be able to show that through non-official facts or non-official acts, non-official conduct, Doctors Gulino and Osborne acted negligently, or worse, worked to cover up the murder of Ellen Greenberg. So that is the main news for you guys. Let's again bring up a picture of Ellen. Let me drop the lower third and see what you guys are talking about over in the live chat. First off, I want to thank ICU, which, let me highlight that so we can see it. Gave a $5 super chat. Justice for Ellen. You keep going, Mom and Dad. Breaking news, small plane crash in Philadelphia. Yeah, Josh and Sandy are amazing. They're just absolutely, they are rock stars in all this. The 14 years that they've lost. And, I know that we talk about it a lot, the amount of money that it's cost. They've had to pay legal teams and consultants and so forth, right? Costs associated with the investigation. It's upwards of $800,000 that they've spent so far. But that's not the main thing. They lost their daughter, their priceless jewel, right? So, yeah, I'm with you. I see you. Go, Josh and Sandy. They are amazing. Let me scroll up to the top to see what else you guys are saying. Mia Spaghetti says to Autumn, thank goodness Gavin is supporting her parents with this and the entire community of people that have pushed for the case to be reopened. Yeah, I am a small, insignificant cog in a giant machine. The main spring in these clockworks, you're looking at them. All of the power is coming straight from Josh and Sandy, which is just been amazing. New England Coast, Gavin, this case is so close to my heart. I want truth for her poor parents. I do too. And this is one step. This is one step that I think it's a major step. No, by the way, guys, if we go back over to the docket report, let me show you something. We're all the way down at the bottom. If we go up to the top, look what's on the calendar. Jury selection on Monday, February 3rd. Now, I don't want to spill the tea or anything like this, but I don't have any inside information on this, but I believe that Joe and Will have been working behind the scenes this afternoon to try to figure this whole thing out. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to keep my phone off of Do Not Disturb, is if I got a text from somebody in the family, I'd be able to know, for sure if February 3rd is the day. But we've got jury selections on the calendar scheduled February 3rd. Kind of nuts. All right. Thank you for that comment, New England Coast. Demon Hugger says, Gavin, I just want to say your look is awesome. The hair, the beard, the glasses, all together is total. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's sidetrack and talk about me for a second. I have decided that I am going to try to grow my hair long enough to donate my hair. I have never successfully grown my hair out long. This is the longest it has ever been in my life. And if you guys have been watching for a while, my dad is battling cancer, and it wasn't too long ago that I shaved my head in solidarity with my dad. I'm now gonna try to finish that cycle by donating my hair to somebody who needs it. Thank you for that comment. That's awfully kind of you. All right, still going down. Becca, Gavin, no official should be above the law that's crying out for misconduct to take place. I completely agree. I don't think that there should be high immunity. I think there should be qualified immunity. But on any level of government or any level of the governmental bureaucracy, remember, these guys are hired. They are not elected. That if you give them that shroud, there is the possibility for abuse. Not everybody will abuse it, but there will be those that do. And so, yeah, the high immunity thing bothers me for sure. Hey, Jersey Jen, thank you very much for gifting membership. It's very kind of you. Thank you for doing that. Keep going here. Beach Fairy says, yes, amazing. Her parents deserve this. And I hope we can finally see justice in this case. Gavin, you're going to do some streams on the case, going through it all again. The 911 call is shocking. If you guys think that I should, I will. I can give a full primer on this case. This is one of two cases that I know inside and out, frontwards and backwards. There's more stuff that I've forgotten about this case than most people. And so if you guys think that I should do Ellen Greenberg case A to Z, I could do that. Becca says, Gavin, Red Handed Podcast covered this and mentioned you and how much you have looked into the case. Thanks for covering it. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad Red Handed did that. There are a lot of podcasts that have covered Ellen's case, and rightfully so. It's ridiculous, the amount of corruption on this one. Donna Barnes says, Gavin, are you going to the trial? So yes, I've already made arrangements. My day job has been so freaking amazing. When I reached out to them and asked for some flexibility in my day job, they have given it to me. The question right now is, when do I go? Do I go Sunday, so that I'm ready, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for Monday morning? Or So I don't know. There's a lot of questions that are happening. I think if I don't know the answers to them, I think I'm probably just going to go to Philadelphia on Sunday, show up at the court. I think that's probably what I will do. And if it gets rescheduled for another time, I'll go to another time. But either way, at the trial, I won't be reporting from the trial because the trial does not allow reporting from the trial. But I will check in with you guys at the end of every day at the very least. Probably do some check-ins every once in a while, just saying, this is what happened this morning. So that's my plan. Thank you for the question. Nicole Luongo says, Gavin, what about changing the cause of death? Okay, so I don't have any inside information on this that I can share with you guys. I only have my opinion, okay? I think the only thing that Josh and Sandy Greenberg have asked for is exactly that. Change the manner of death from that she did it to herself to either homicide or undetermined. So if the city is smart, they will be negotiating to settle this case, but I believe that Josh and Sandy will not settle without a change in the manner of death. That's my opinion. I don't think they will. I think they're already out almost $1 million. We're talking $800,000. They're already out that. And they've already lost their daughter. They have nothing to lose. I think the city should be going, we will settle. And part of that settlement is changing the manner of death. That's what I think that they should do. Kelly says that's a lovely sentiment. Oh, probably about the hair. Mooney says, I've donated 3 times now, just got 10 inches. Well, that's awesome. I have never, in my younger days, when I had much thicker hair, it would have been, and more of it, it hadn't creeped up the forehead. I could have, donated more, but I've always had my hair kind of tightly cut. So I hope that I get to do that. It'd be cool. Demon Hugger, hugging them their demons, says a recap would be super cool. All right. I will consider that. I could do that pretty easily. Couple more comments coming in. Any idea how long it will last? Asking how long the trial will last. I think that I heard that they're expecting 7 to 8 days. That's what I think. So it's not going to be one of these that goes weeks and weeks. I think that they can present their case in about a week, but I don't know. And yeah, I will. That's the plan. Nightly week recaps is the plan. Yeah, Josh and Sandy need everybody's support, guys. Share. I honestly think, and this is not me patting myself on the back. I'm patting other people on the back. Again, very small cog in a big machine here, but big channel people with big audiences like Nancy Grace, like CNN, like Fox Digital, several big podcasts. The Prosecutors is one that just kind of hopped into my mind. The BBC did a thing that I participated in on this. I honestly think that the media attention has made the court go, we better be very careful here. I think. I hope that's the case. I hope that we've made a difference that way. Because you guys should have seen when there were Zoom hearings, which are public, I would log in and I would see major media outlets, publications sitting in there with little old me as well, just checking to see what's going to happen in whatever hearing or conference that we were a part of, or we were a gallery to, I guess. So, yeah, keep sharing everything. share my stuff, share Surviving the Survivor. I know that my buddy Cheryl and Dale did one on it. I know that Stephanie Harlow did one on it. I know Annie Elise did one on Ellen's case. I know, again, CNN, Fox Digital, Nancy Grace. So just share. Penn Live, the Philadelphia Inquirer. Philly Inquirer was the first one on this, and they deserve a lot of credit. They did amazing work. Mooney says, please give Josh and Sandy huge hugs from the fishies. I will do that, hopefully when I see them in Philadelphia. Queen Olive Ruth Ann asked Gavin, do they have a GoFundMe? They do. I believe it might be linked below, but if it's not, go over to my website and go to Ellen's case. They're arranged chronologically, so we just need to come down a little bit. There's Ellen's case, and there is a GoFundMe page right here, and it looks like they've raised about $66,000. So yeah, if you are game to help Josh and Sandy, this has been an expensive fight, man. Most families would have given up long ago, but they have not. So great question. Let's bring Ellen back up here. Widespread panic. Yeah. Is there a way for us to help the parents financially? Yes. Go to that. Just go to my website, go to Ellen's page. There's a link there. You can also sign, if I remember correctly, I signed a long time ago a change.org petition. Yeah, that has 166,000 verified signatures on it, right? So yeah, definitely, you can definitely do that. And good on you for donating hair to cancer patients. It's terrific. I'm gonna. So you're gonna be comparing the progress as we go. Well, I hope that I can stand it. I won't get into it, but man, right now it's at a state where I'm just having a real hard time. Tiff says, I hope Ellen gets justice. Her parents are the definition of strength and determination. A parent's love is so powerful. Yes, please do a full A to Z. Okay, I will do that. And man, they are strong people, man. Tough people. Gritty, that's what they are. Gritty. They have true grit. Nicole, thank you. It has been my pleasure to work on this case. Mooney says, again, give hugs. I will. Lee says the prosecutors podcast did an excellent analysis of Ellen's case. They did. I enjoyed that. And they reached out to me and I provided a bunch of material for them. They were extremely interested in the case and did a very good job on it. I agree. There is a picture of Ellen and Sam Goldberg. Gavin, so if this upcoming trial works out the way we want it to, do you think there's enough to charge a certain someone for her death? Okay, now listen, I did not bring up this picture on purpose for this comment. I hadn't seen the comment, okay? So there are three things happening in this case, okay? And I hate to keep bringing you back over to my website. I guess I don't hate that. It's kind of great that I have the website. But if you go back over to my website and go to my blog, which I think tomorrow I've got something to write about, but I have got a couple of articles, okay? The one that we first let's talk about, there are three fronts that Josh and Sandy are battling right now, okay? The first is the bureaucracy, okay? Now, this one is the one where I have been most involved. What happened, as you guys know, is the case was kicked from the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office because a man named Larry Krasner was elected to the office and he had worked as Josh and Sandy's attorney. So he had a clear conflict of interest. The law required that he send it to the AG's office, which he did. In the AG's office, it languished for 4.5 years. And after 4.5 years, the AG's office, after I broke the news that there was a connection between the then AG Josh Shapiro, who is now the governor of the Commonwealth, and Sam's family, specifically the Schwartzman family. Here you see James and Kamian Schwartzman. He kicked the case. He said, you know what? There's an appearance of a conflict of interest. He did not admit that there was an actual conflict, but he said, there's an appearance, so we're going to kick this out of my office. That then went to Chester County. Okay. Now that brings me up to this blog post where I talk about some good news that happened back in November. And a lot of people were down on this, but I was actually pretty darn amazed that the Chester County DA's office, they said, we're going to keep the case open. We don't think that we can successfully prosecute the case with the information that we have now, but if more information comes in, we will certainly take a look at it. And if that information shows that we might be able to get to beyond a reasonable doubt, we will open it back up again. And I'm paraphrasing. That's my interpretation of what they said. Okay. So back to the question. Do we think that if this upcoming trial works out the way we want it to, do we think there's enough to charge a certain someone in Ellen Greenberg's death? I think there already is, but certainly if they can put evidence on the record that is, it is indicative of a murder, that Ellen was murdered, and that, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything else besides that. I'm going to stop short. Yeah, possibly. And I mean, the main thing though, that they want out of this, as you guys know, is for the manner of death to be changed to what it really is, homicide, or they will accept undetermined, is what they have said. Widespread panic. I'm at the ponytail stage. Once you reach that, I'll be home free. Okay, good. Makes me feel better. Tiff, my little sister is named Tiff. Her name is Tiffany because, like the window behind me, which was created by Tiffany and Company, my mom, when she saw her newborn baby, said to herself, I couldn't have found anything more beautiful even in the window at Tiffany's. That's why she's named Tiffany. But she goes by Tiff, like you. Anyway, Tiff says, in my opinion, the fiance is guilty and needs to be held accountable along with everyone involved in the investigation. I know that the Greenbergs do not ever say anything. They've never said publicly that they think that, or they've never publicly accused anyone of murdering Ellen. But in my opinion, I would say that my number one suspect would be Mr. Goldberg. That's what I think. All right. Susan Mare LeBrun says, Gavin, thank you for this VIP podcast. Well, you are most welcome. Ellen's family will receive a measure of justice. I surely hope so. Dr. Bill Butter says it isn't physically possible that she did it to herself. This is so ridiculous. I just can't with all this. And by the way, if you, speaking of not being able to physically do it to herself, if you go back to the website, let me bring this up here. There is a video I did. It's the second video I did where we tried to figure out if it was possible for Ellen to have done that to herself. And my lovely wife was kind enough to hop in as an avatar for Ellen, being the same height, weight, build. Excuse me a moment. Wow, that was a sneeze. Okay. Back to the comments. Becca says, Gavin, do you think more information from will be gained from the trial to open the case back up. I really deeply hope so. But I think the more likely one, I don't know if it's more likely or not. Oh, well, remember how I said that there were 3 cases? One was the bureaucracy. The next was the first lawsuit that they filed against Dr. Osborne that is now going to the state Supreme Court. That one is just asking the court to make them change the manner of death. So that one might, if the Supreme Court rules that Josh and Sandy do have standing to bring a lawsuit against the city, I think that one has the potential to bring out a lot. And yeah, I think this one has the potential to do a lot. Gavin, could we do a show where all the super chats go to Josh and Sandy? Yeah. Why don't we plan on that? Let's plan on that. So when I do the A to Z show, which what I'll do is I will schedule it way ahead of time. Okay. So that it can be shared and we can do our best to get as many people watching as possible. We will do that. We will do a show. It's the Ellen Greenberg case A to Z. All super chats go to Josh and Sandy. Definitely. That's a great idea. Mooney thinks it's a great idea. Let's do it. Yeah. It's not, you're right. It's not that they open it back up. They've kept it open. It's just in like paused status or whatever it's called. Guys, that's all I got for you tonight. Okay. It's Friday night, January 31st when I'm recording this. I hope you guys have a terrific weekend. Thank you so much for that idea about raising money for Josh and Sandy. We could all get together. In fact, maybe we could talk to other channels to kind of join in on that as well. Maybe we could do a channel-a-thon. At the very least, I will do it 100%. But it'd be cool if I do a half an hour live stream, it goes over to another channel for half an hour, and it just keeps doing that to raise money for Josh and Sandy. That would be terrific. Oh, Tiff also says, the fabulous Joseph Scott Morgan speaks out about Ellen's cases well. He says it's absolutely not possible Ellen did it to herself. And by the way, Joseph and I, who are acquainted with one another, friendly with one another, may be making a presentation together on the case. We've gotten it approved. We now need to go through the process of getting it done. So yeah, great guy. And I'm glad that he's been talking about it as well. Guys, with that, I bid you adieu. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you on the next one, maybe Monday from Philadelphia. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.